Hey there, creepy peeps, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about The Farm. I also have to give a huge shout out to Steph, who recently joined the Creepy Peep fam. So thank you so much for your support, Steph. All right, so The Farm was requested of me by one of my patrons, Miko, who also won the giveaway in the 6 Degrees of Wes Craven game. So yeah, so she suggested that I watch this. I'm gonna say to Miko really quick, if you suggested this movie because you like it, maybe don't watch this review. This is written and directed by Hans Stjernswerd. I'm just guessing on how you pronounce that. I could not find an interview or anything where anybody said his name. Sorry about that. Anyways, it was written and directed by Hans, and it follows a young couple who get kidnapped and treated like farm animals after stopping at a roadside diner to eat meat. That summary that I just read is taken directly from IMDb, and it's what clued me in initially that this was a vegan horror movie. And they never make it clear in the film that that's why this couple is being punished. It's all in the summary. Like the summary like plants that in your head, like, oh, it's because they eat meat. Nobody ever says that in the movie. They do happen to eat a cheeseburger in the beginning of the movie, although now I'm wondering if it actually was cow. It was probably human. But the overall message you get out of this movie is that the factory farm system is cruel, it's inhumane, and totally unnecessary. And if the same thing that happened to these animals were happening to humans, people would be outraged. People would be, would be insane about it. Like, it would be unacceptable. And that's how vegans feel about, all these animals, the pigs, the chickens, the cows, all these animals in the factory farm system. So I get the message. I think the message is great. It's the execution. So let's talk about it. Gotta say, this film takes withholding information to a whole new level. Like, you see that a lot in horror. I feel like there's fear in the unknown, so sometimes horror movies will kind of purposefully hold back certain bits of information. You rely on your imagination more and therefore make the movie scarier to you, which is fine. I personally feel like you have to throw the audience a little bit of a bone. Like, give us a little something and you can withhold a little something and you can have a great film out of that. This movie decides that it's not going to give you any information. I believe there's a purpose to it, which I will get to in a little bit, and I believe that it's severely misguided, which I will get to in a little bit. So let's start off with the couples that I talked about. Alec and Nora, who I discovered that's what their names were, mostly from IMDb, because neither of them say each other's names for the first 30 minutes, and then finally homegirl says Alec, and you're like, oh, that's what his name is. If I remember correctly, nobody says her name until like almost the end of the movie, which I think is kind of insane. And you also know nothing about them. You don't know where they're going. You don't know what their status is. Until somebody asks them, they're not brother and sister, but like right when the movie starts, you don't know if they're brother and sister, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband and wife. You don't know anything about them. Fits the message of kind of like the vast quantities of animals in the factory farm system are slaughtered and tortured each day. I get it. No one is going to care about the plight of these humans and therefore the animals if you've given us no reason to care about them. So because we didn't learn anything about the victims here, the couple, Alec and Nora, I figured, oh, well, maybe it's going to be more about the farm and the people that run the farm and work on the farm. So maybe there's a reason why we're not learning about the victims. Nope, you don't get any information about them either. You briefly meet the owner of the farm. You don't know why he started serving human meat. You kind of get a hint that his business is like a front for like a catering business, I guess. The rest of the workers are all walking around in those animal masks and they're completely silent. They never say anything. So you get no other hints as to like the information on this farm, the information of the killers, the information of the victims. You don't get anything. Which again, if you think about it in terms of this being like a huge metaphor for the factory farm system, it makes sense. But I just feel like it's a super bad move on the movie's part not to give you any information, because you've given the audience no reason to care about them. I feel like, and this is all just like personal opinion on how to make a movie, but I feel like if you want to get your message across, at least some of the best movies that I've watched or that have touched me aren't so heavy-handed. They're movies that you can watch just as a normal movie, but then there's that like kind of like, I guess you could call it subliminal messaging, or that subtext in there that it's about something greater. And I feel like it's much more meaningful for an audience to understand that message when they get it, not when it's force-fed to them. And the scenes are just like one pointless scene after another. I feel like the entire movie, especially once the couple gets captured and we start going through kind of like the factory farm metaphors here, I feel like the movie was all about just trying to cram in every aspect of factory farming. Like obviously you have the humans cooped up in cages, very dirty and like not sanitary conditions. They had to throw in a bit where Nora is like artificially inseminated, which is what they do to dairy cows to get them to produce milk. You have a very gruesome scene where a baby is killed. I can only assume was reflective of how male baby chicks are usually killed or just thrown away into a dumpster live because they don't produce breast meat and they don't produce eggs, so they're essentially useless. In terms of factory farming, they're useless. But the movie like just made no attempt to make it cohesive. It was just like a series of, it's like right in the middle of the movie when Nora wakes up and finds herself in this situation. It's just like a series of these scenes that aren't really connected, but it's just like silver platter, here is the message. And then there are just like these really long scenes that serve no purpose. So there's this one in particular that's just, I still don't get it. So it's one of the workers wearing the animal mask, completely silent, he never talks, and we see him start in one building and he's like carrying a bag with a couple of like severed limbs in it, and the camera is like directly behind him like the entire time, and it's almost a 3-minute scene of just him walking and saying nothing. Nobody says anything to him, he says nothing to anybody else. And it gives you no information. Like I figured like at least a scene like that you should be getting some other visual information, like maybe the layout of the farm, but he literally just walks from like one building next door to another one. Like it doesn't tell you anything about like the layout of the farm. You see like a couple of other workers that are also silent and wearing masks, but we've already seen them already. So it's like we already know that the workers don't speak and they all wear these animal masks. So it gives you no information, and I don't understand the purpose of the scene, like whatsoever. So I feel like the movie was just very clearly only concerned with getting this message across, and they didn't care about making an actual like understandable movie. It really hammers it home at the end when we have Nora and she tries to escape with this other girl and they're caught, and then it ends with a shot which I'm going to put up here. It's very Last Supper-esque. We have all these workers wearing their animal masks just kind of sitting around the table, and we have the two girls kind of prepared like pigs, you know, with the apple in their mouth, and they've apparently been cooked, even though I'm just gonna go ahead and point out their hair is still there, so I don't really understand that. You know, and it just goes back to what I was saying, like just make a good movie that happens to have like that subtext there. If I wasn't already vegan, this movie would not convince me. I can say that with full confidence. This movie would not convince me. It made me mad, and I'm vegan, and I completely stand by the message. But the way they conveyed this message, I completely disagree with. I think it's safe to say I hated the movie. I will reiterate, great message, very poor execution. I am personally gonna give it a 0.5 out of 5. On IMDb, it has a 3.8 out of 10. On Rotten Tomatoes, it doesn't have a critic score, but it does have a 20% audience score, and that is out of 60 reviews. And on Letterboxd, it has a 2 out of 5. Oh, a couple of you. It looks like for the most part, everybody kind of agrees. Jonathan gave it a 3 out of 5 and marked that they liked it. If you've already seen The Farm, let me know in the comment section down below what you thought about it. You can watch it on Amazon. I'm not going to share it with an affiliate link. I don't want any money from that. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new here, and become a creepy peep today. I post videos Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and you can ring that notification bell down there to be notified every time I post a video, even though it like never works. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay strange. Bye.
This video is brought to you by all these lovely creepy patron peeps that you see listed on the left-hand side of the screen. If you want to find out the perks to being a creepy patron peep, you can follow that link that is in the description of this video. No pressure, but it's there if you want to check it out. Thanks for watching. Bye!